And the answer is it's both, and it depends on your perspective. Groups like the Earth Liberation Front have said, well, in the past, right, have said, well, we can blow up SUVs as a protest against climate change. Obviously this was thought to then be a criminal act. So the Tea Party in some ways might look like the same kind of thing. Yeah, nobody was hurt. Some people were hurt, but no one was killed as a result of this. But the equivalent of in today's dollars of between $1 and $2 million worth of property was destroyed. Is this the kind of behavior that we think people ought to be engaged in just because they don't like the laws? I don't think that that's something that we're always willing to accept. So I think that actually throughout American history, people have not only thought of it as a patriotic act. In fact, the first people to come forward about participating in the Boston Tea Party, as far as I can tell, don't really do so until 40 or 50 years later, when most of the men who had participated in the Tea Party were very old or dead. And so there's some evidence to suggest that some of the people who participated in the Boston Tea Party were kind of ashamed of what they had done, right? That this wasn't something to brag about, that this was something that they had done that was lawless, that was an act of property destruction. And because people in the 1820s and 1830s were still dressing up as Indians and rioting against local governments, it's not necessarily the type of behavior that Americans wanted to encourage. Now, look, the end result of it was the American Revolution, and that it has been a source of pride for Americans. But did the ends justify the means? That's something that Americans have actually been surprisingly ambivalent about, and they have not always been willing to kind of say, yes, the Boston Tea Party was an unalloyed act of heroism. It was something that all patriots ought to be willing to do in the name of liberty. I think that most people wouldn't be willing to follow that argument to its logical conclusion, although in American history there always have been people who have been willing to follow that argument to its logical conclusion. So I don't think there's a right answer to that question. What level of oppression would it take for that kind of act of vandalism to be seen as justified? I think that that's a question that people in various societies all over the world have asked themselves since the beginning of time.